Hello, my name is Steve Mendoza.
And I'm Vinh, Nguyen.
Today we're going to talk about Vin's journey. He just recently took the MCAT and he's preparing for medical school. But today we want to highlight some of his struggles as a underrepresented minority growing up in Santa Ana, California, and some of the challenges he's faced along the way, and of course the lessons that he wants to provide to our audience. So it seems like everyone in Santa Ana seems to know who Vinh Nguyen is, but for those that don't, tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I was born and raised in Orange County. I went to the elementary and junior high in Anaheim, and I went to high school in Santa Ana. And in both places, it's always I've always been surrounded by kind of a low-income community, minority background, and what kind of influenced me to kind of go into medical school was when I was younger. When I would go to the doctors, there would always be a really long wait, long line, because in these underserved communities, the doctor to patient ratio is very low in the sense that each doctor is tending to like hundreds of patients, and I kind of want to be a part of that, solve that disparity, solve that shortage of doctors, and in the future I see myself working and along these underserved communities.
And you just took the MCAT, huh?
I did, yeah, just last Friday. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so glad to be done. Yeah.
So we actually went to the same high school together, and there were very few people from our high school that went on to go to a university, let alone a prestigious university like UCLA, UC Berkeley, whatever it may be. So could you maybe talk to that? Why do you think that's the case?
Yeah, so I think oftentimes in these low-income minority type of communities, there's a lot more that students have to kind of deal with than just their homework at night. A lot of times they may be dealing with financial struggles. They might have to go home and work a minimum wage job just to support their family, or they might be dealing with shootings every now and then, try to keep themselves safe. There's just so much more that these students have to deal with on a day-to-day basis than just academics. And I think another factor is, these first-generation students, they don't have a lot of experience, or they don't have a kind of mentor to kind of look to lead them through going to college. They're pretty oblivious even to the process.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, these factors contribute a lot to just the low rate of going to college.
Oftentimes, Southeast Asians are not categorized as underrepresented minorities, such as blacks or Hispanics. Do you see Southeast Asians as having some of the same problems and challenges that being underrepresented minorities face?
Yeah. So I think what differs Southeast Asians from the typical Asians is that a lot of our parents come from really tough backgrounds. Personally, my dad was a prisoner of war in the Vietnam War. He was a prisoner of war kept by the communists for about 15 years. And it was thanks to that he actually sought refuge over to the U.S. He ultimately came over to the U.S. with my mom with practically nothing in his hands. And he had to work to build up from nothing, basically. Work a bunch of minimum wage jobs. And I feel like this can relate to a lot of minorities, such as Latinos, who immigrate to the U.S. with practically nothing in their hands as well.
Just a vision of better opportunities for their children, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And you said you want to use your career to inspire others.
So I think in the future, I want to serve as a mentor to minority students who are seeking to go into the medical field, because I think a lot of us minority students, personally for myself growing up, I didn't really know what it took to get into medical school. You know, as a freshman, I was just watching my peers, you know, being in all these research programs and, you know, have a bunch of clinical volunteering. And I was practically oblivious to that, and I didn't really know that that was a requirement to get into medical school up until I was like I would say like a junior. That was when I knew what it took to get into medical school. And I feel like, you know, in the future I want to be a mentor to kind of like high school students and, you know, incoming freshmen, to kind of teach them, you know, what it takes to get into medical school, so they know from the get-go, once they get into college, you know, what they need to do, because, you know, oftentimes medical schools require, you know, extensive research, extensive clinical experience. And yeah, I think, you know, as minority students, we should never lose sight, you know, of our goals. Never forget where we came from, and, you know, always, you know, strive and go through, you know, in life you're gonna go through a lot of obstacles, especially as a minority student. You're gonna have financial struggles, maybe medical tragedies, and I think it's important to always be persistent, always fight, and, you know, never lose sight of your goals.